If you're buying a property or selling a property, indeed, selling a house or buying a house, one of the disputes that can arise from time to time, it's not too common, but I have seen it arise, is the question arising or turning around vacant possession. Hey, it's Terry Gorry, and this is the Terry Gorry Podcast. What is vacant possession? So it's a term of the conditions of sale. In the General Law Society issue, conditions of sale, that the vendor will hand over vacant possession on closing day. And the question arises then, what is vacant possession? You might think that it's self-evident what vacant possession is, but if you dig a little bit deeper, you'll see how vacant possession, the definition of it, can be a little bit ambiguous and open to argument. Clearly, vacant possession means that the house must be clear of people. So people who are selling the house, the vendors, must have moved out. And the house must be clear of people. But what about furniture? What about fitted kitchen? What about carpets? What about lampshades? What about the likes of furniture, sofa, bed, tables, chairs? Quite often it happens that a house that's been let for quite a period of time, a letting house, it may well be that there is fairly poor, fairly rough equipment and furniture in it. And the landlord getting out, or the vendor, may decide that he's happy enough just to get out, and he's leaving a pile of crap basically behind him. Clearly, depending on what's left, it's going to create a problem for the purchasers who may have visions of moving into this nice second-hand house, for example, at the weekend, and then discover that there's old beds and there's stuff up in the attic and there's tables and chairs and there's a sofa and there's bedside lockers, and they are nothing but crap, but they do have to be taken away. They do have to be basically put into a skip and taken away someplace. This can give rise to rows about vacant possession and what is vacant possession. It can give rise to rows from the purchaser's perspective insofar as they are entitled to get vacant possession. But as I say, the definition of vacant possession isn't clear. There's no legislation which defines it. There's no common law principles which define vacant possession. There has been various cases in the UK surrounding this issue, and it really will vary and change from case to case. So clearly a table and chairs or a sofa, it needs to be taken out by the vendor, because you're not providing vacant possession and you're preventing the new purchaser from enjoying the premises or enjoying the property when they take it over. However, what about a stud partition? What about a temporary partition? What about perhaps built-in electrical units like dishwasher or whatever? Say a dishwasher or a tumble dryer are built in and they're broken, and as I say, the purchaser can kick up about this. The bottom line is, disputes can arise from time to time about vacant possession. The question generally centres around or focuses on stuff that's left behind. The vendor is happy enough to be getting out and is prepared to leave perhaps a pile of junk behind him, and the purchaser doesn't want that. Clearly there's a skip going to be probably required, and maybe a whole weekend or a couple of days or whatever, taking out stuff that the purchasers would have thought would be gone by the time they took over the property. So this is something you need to be careful about. If you're buying, need to be careful about, obviously, if you're selling as well. Vacant possession is vacant possession. You are obliged as vendor to give vacant possession. It is a contract term, it's a contractual term, and it is one of the fundamentals of buying or selling property that vacant possession will be handed over. The remedies then, if vacant possession isn't available, is perhaps rescission of the contract. Perhaps the contract won't close, perhaps the contract will close, but there will be legal proceedings then from the purchaser suing the vendor for damages, for perhaps the cost of taking away the stuff, the cost of the skip and so on. Again, it's just something that you need to be aware of. Thanks a lot for listening, and make sure to subscribe so that you don't miss an episode.